Welcome everyone to Beyond the Adventure. Today's episode is Hogback and Covered Bridges, and let's get started. So opening this episode up here, we are crossing over a covered bridge right now. They are absolutely amazing, and they are something that you see a lot of throughout New England. Now here we are on our yearly trip to Vermont. This is actually the first time that I took you guys along with us on our yearly trip to Vermont. This is something that Amanda and myself have been doing, I think now for like the past probably 6 or so years. Every single year we go up here religiously. In the fall we take a drive. We usually go as far north as we can, and then we start progressing over. So we'll go as far as the leaves are still in color. Then once we see the leaves starting to lose, or the trees starting to lose all their leaves, then we kind of cut over and try to stay within the range of the foliage. So here we are heading north on Interstate 91. Now, if you guys want to check out this previous year where we went up here, I will throw the link up here or down below in the description. Now, last year when we went here, I wasn't able to take the drone up. It was raining and it was windy that day. The year before, this year right here, 2016, I had the drone with me. It was a nice day. I took it up. Now, the original published date, or the original air date of this episode was October 26, 2016. So here we are just getting out of the state of Massachusetts. I think in another second or so, we might actually already be out of Massachusetts. No, I think we're still up in Greenfield right now. Yeah, this is getting near the Vermont border. You might actually see a sign for that coming up in a second. But as you see, the further north you progress, the leaves are changing colors. And there are some trees that you can see on the left and the right side of the screen that have already lost all their leaves altogether. So this year we decided to get off this exit. Each year, like I said, it's all dependent on what we see with the leaves, and if there is, you know, more foliage further north, then we will continue further north. But I tend to leave the highway wherever we start to see the trees and the leaves disappearing. So here is some work that they were doing on 91 North that has since been completed, and here we are following the river. Now I forget the name of this river. I should know because I just did a Beyond the Adventure for this past year's episode a couple of weeks ago. This was the West Dummerston covered bridge, and it goes across the Dummerston River from what I remember. Don't even have my phone open. And this is the longest covered bridge in the state of Vermont from what I remember. And on top of that, it is also the longest standing covered bridge, meaning it has weathered the most amount of storms and everything like that. Still accessible, you can still drive over it. So here we are at the first parking spot right now. So we're in Vermont, and this is definitely a spot that I would recommend checking out because you can park, you can walk down, you can go underneath the bridge, you can drive over the bridge if you want. I wouldn't suggest walking over the bridge because it is very, very tight. But anyways, here we are heading down, and just looking right now from this past year's episode and editing everything, I can see that the water level is significantly lower than it was when we went this time right here, or this past year. Anyways, here we are heading north up on the river right now. There are some power lines off in the distance, so I didn't want to get too close to them. You can barely see them, probably about the 2/3 of the way mark on the screen going up. And in a second here, I'm going to turn around now. To date, this was some of my favorite footage that I've ever filmed on the drone. This was, like I said, shot on the Phantom 3 4K. I think you just saw the drone fly past there a second ago. But here we are raising elevation on the river doing a time lapse. There's a big dead fish floating by. That's what I thought that was. I mean, I was watching the footage a bunch of times. There are some weird lines on the screen. I don't know what it was. I would randomly get them on the Phantom. Couldn't really do anything about them. They didn't show up on the screen of your phone when you were flying. They only showed up after when you were editing. Also, no filters, no ND filters or anything like that. So that's why it is kind of whitewashed a little bit. It was very, very sunny. In a second here, I think. Nope, not that shot, not that shot, not that shot. There's going to be another shot in a second where I do a slow pan over and you see all these clouds forming on top of the colors. So here is a short fly under of the bridge right now. Now, I would just recommend if you are going to fly under a covered bridge, just make sure you have enough headroom on top of you. You're not too close to the water, and if there's anybody walking around or anything like that, just respect them, respect their space, and don't get the drone too close. But other than that, I just decided to fly under the bridge there. You can see the clouds and the sun line cresting over on the mountain. Here's what I was talking about. This is one of my favorite shots at all. It's kind of choppy in a couple spots, but you can just see all those clouds over there lifting off of the colored trees. You can see the mountains peeking out from behind. You can see the sky off in the distance. Now here's another shot of flying directly under the covered bridge. Absolutely amazing bridge, and I've said it before, still amazing that they are still standing there. They haven't been replaced by more modern technology or anything like that. So typically when we leave this spot, we head up to an area known as the Townshend, New Townshend, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a dam that's not too far away from here, and every single year we always tend to end up at that West Dummerston Bridge, and then we always tend up to go up this way to where the dam is. So here's, actually I think we're taking a different route to get to the dam. Or actually, I don't even know if I brought you to the dam in this episode. Thinking about it now, we'll have to see in a second. I think I do, because this looks very familiar right here. Okay, this episode actually, now that I'm seeing the footage, we went down a dirt road. And I don't know what the dirt road was, I don't know what it was called, but this dirt road went on forever. We were on this thing for a good 40 minutes or so without seeing any pavement whatsoever. Here we are traveling on it right now. There are houses and everything on this dirt road, just do not know where it led. So at one point in time, I pulled the truck over to the side of the road. I wanted to see if I could bring the drone up because there was no cell signal in the area, but coincidentally, we had service on the drone, or service with the phone using the drone and the satellites. So I decided to take the drone up to see where I was, to see if I could see any main streets or anything like that nearby. And I did notice within probably a minute or so of getting the drone into the air that somebody's house was actually located on the other side of the river, so I didn't really fly over there or anything like that. So here it is with the drone just taking off right now on the side of some random dirt covered road. Don't know where it is. I'd love to find that spot again because that was a cool little drive. Now that I think about it, sit back and think about it, being on the road though without having cell phone service and driving for a good 40 minutes to an hour kind of sketches you out for a bit, saying, oh, should I turn around now or should I keep driving? That's the house I was talking about up on the distance there. But as you can see, we are a little bit further north right now than the previous stop. You can see more of the trees have lost their colors. I like this shot right here of the road next to the little stream cutting through the woods. You can very briefly see parts of the stream, very briefly see parts of the road together. They're mixed up in harmony in the valley of these mountains right here. Now there should be another shot in a second, right? No, there wasn't. Okay, so I thought there was another shot in there where I was flying over and then the person was outside when I decided not to fly over anywhere near their property. And to the left, so they're at peak. Right here, we have actually hit the point where I like to say everything is past peak. Everything is off the trees just about. There is very little leaves left on the trees still. There is, like I said, it almost looked like one side of the road, everything had fallen off, and the other side of the road, everything was, somewhat still on. But here we are heading over towards Hogback Mountain, which is our final stop of the day. You might recognize this road right here from this past year's episode. We drove down this one to get up there. I think I was stuck behind some truck with like a dog crate or something in the back of it, if I remember correctly. But a very nice scenic drive if you ever do happen to drive through this area. And oh no, I thought there's a spot on the right I thought was a spot that I brought the drone up this year, because I saw this other spot on the side of the road near the Green Mountain National Forest. I decided to take the drone up there because I'd never really noticed it before. So Hogback Mountain used to be a ski area back in the day. I remember my dad and my uncles and everything telling me stories of how they used to go up there. There also was a restaurant that was located at the top of the mountain. It boasted its 100-mile scenic view. I went up there before with my grandparents to have breakfast. The restaurant closed down. That's it right there up on the hill, and since that point in time they've actually remodeled it. It is like called Naked Trail Brewing or something like that right now, and they have a brewery up there. They have a pizza place, a place to eat and everything like that. So very cool little top of the mountain tourist destination right here. This gift shop has been here my entire life. I remember going into this when I was a little kid. I remember this deck that goes out and wraps around the entire area. I don't think there's too many of those panoramic view things set up there anymore where you drop a quarter in and you can see off in the distance the binoculars. So this is a Molly Stark Byway, Vermont's scenic trail. Now they do have a lot of different scenic trails in the area. Look at this massive chair right there. But they have like the Robert Frost Scenic Highway, the one that I just mentioned right there. They take pride in a lot of their scenic drives, which is something that you do have to appreciate for the New England states. They're not as overcrowded as some of the southern states. I'm not talking about Boston or major cities like New York City. I'm talking about the spread out area of Massachusetts. There's not too many towns that have massive populations where it spreads out and there's little suburbs and everything. So here is just a little view inside of the gift shop. Now, one thing I'm kind of always on the fence about filming stuff inside of a place. I know some businesses don't like things filmed, but then when you go into another place, you might see somebody else with a camera walking around taking pictures of things. So I just decided for this episode here, I would show you a little bit inside of the Hogback Mountain gift shop. Now when we were here, we actually got, it was a maple syrup, or just a maple flavored, right there is a sign. It was a liqueur, and you put that with your coffee or something. It's booze, and it was pretty tasty. So I would highly recommend, if you guys ever got a chance to try that right there, Vermont maple cream liquor. It is very good, definitely worth trying out. So we got some, we got some cheese in there, we got some pepperoni, we got a couple of sodas. Last year when we went, we actually had Finnegan with us. He went on the adventure with us up here, so I did not go into the gift shop. Amanda went in for us this time. And one thing that they did have this year, so late in the year, was maple syrup ice cream, which is something that I used to eat as a little kid. And some people might turn their nose up to that, but take vanilla ice cream, just drizzle a little maple syrup on it. It is so freaking good. So here we are heading down from the top of Hogback Mountain. Back there on the left is where the Vermont Maple Syruping Museum, or Vermont Maple Syrup Museum is. It's actually, I think, was right there on the left. We just passed it just now. But if you go in there, it's a they have like a little area set up on the side where you can learn about the history of syruping in the state of Vermont. Now this area was hit pretty hard by a hurricane a few years back, and a lot of the road washed out. Anyways, here we are in downtown Brattleboro, Vermont. That red building right there is a restaurant. It's a very good restaurant too. It's got a nice view on the river. There is this bridge right here, and there was a Amtrak train coming in at that point in time, and I only had, I want to say, like 30% of the drone battery left. I had used the other battery completely up. I decided I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna throw the battery in there and try to get as much footage as I could. So I got some footage of the bridge, of the cars going over the bridge, and then the Amtrak train pulling out of the station. Now, from what I recall, what I remember, this was actually before they had put an Amtrak stop in my hometown of Holyoke. Now there is a stop there where you could actually get on the same train and take it all the way up to here, if you so desire to. But here's just a little shot of the train heading off into the distance. And then after this, Amanda and myself went into that restaurant there. They have a bunch of different craft beers from Vermont. They have, just a bunch of different food, you name it, they have it there. But I would highly recommend checking it out. Every time we go there, we do have to wait a good 15 to 20 minutes to sit down and eat. It's just that busy, that popular. There's not really a lot of parking either on the restaurant site right there, so you'll actually see we're parked in this side parking lot right here. So not having enough battery left to fly over the town or anything like that, I brought the drone down right here. You can actually see my truck parked right there next to the yellow FJ. So here is the final clip of the episode right now. Crossed over the bridge, heading back to the state of Massachusetts. That's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And I'll see everyone on Friday for Free for All Friday. Peace.